I'm going to show you how I sew the second part down. I had cut all of these, and what I'm going to do now is just finger press them open. The reason I don't use an ironing the iron to do it is this is on the bias, and some of this could be on the bias, and if you press it with iron, hot iron, you have a tendency to stretch things. I don't want to do that, so I'll do that later. So now what I'm going to do is line up the other side of the flying geese, and again I'm going to sew right on that pencil line, and so that my tips here don't get caught underneath my feed dogs. My hand is back here, but all my hand is doing is holding it in place so this can feed through. I'm not pulling on anything, I'm literally just holding it in place. So I'm going to lay this underneath the foot, and now we have it moving. And I'm just going to continue to do the same thing. So I'll do another one, finger pressing it down, and I'm going to pick up one of my other little squares. And you want to make sure your square is going the right way. Don't do this, because if you do this, you've lost this whole flying geese. It has to be point to point up here, and you want to make sure your edges are even. One moved a little bit as I turned it. So yeah, and then I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, I don't normally clip it this way, but I'll clip one so that you can see it. And what I have to do when I'm done with these, there's 42 of them, is I'm going to take it, and see that one got caught a little bit, and I'm going to line it up and I'm going to trim this off. But if you don't have it laying out in the right place, you're not going to have the little flying geese, and you want to make sure, it won't do it because I have the other fabric up there at the top, but you want to make sure you have at least that 1/4 of an inch right here. When I sew this into my star pattern, which I'll do a little later, and I'll show you how I do that, if this isn't a 1/4 of an inch and you don't have it pinned, or not pinned, but set right, you could lose your point. And sometimes your point would look like this. It's not really a point, it's a flat edge. So that's why it's so important not to iron it, not to stretch it out. And you want to make sure that when you're sewing right on that pencil line. That was the whole reason I put it there. I've gotten lazy on occasion, not for this quilt, but on some other quilts, and I've just kind of eyeballed it end to end, especially on something this tiny. This is smaller than what I normally work with. These squares here are 2 inches, and this white piece is 2 by 3.5. So this is a smaller flying geese unit that I would normally use, but I need it for the quilt that I'm making. So then when these are done, they're stacked, and then they're cut, and then they're set to the side, and then I have to do the opposite, which is blue here, white here, and blue here. So this will be the reverse of it. So once I get all of that done, then I'll show you what the block is going to look like, and I'll put it up here so that you guys can take a look at it.